The detection alert came at 3:47 Earth Standard Time. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez was pulling his third consecutive night shift at the Deep Space Monitoring Station when the quantum sensors picked up something impossible, a ship signature matching the ISS Hyperion, a vessel that had vanished without a trace 15 years ago during humanity's first attempts at faster-than-light travel. "This has to be an equipment malfunction," Marcus muttered, his dark eyes fixed on the holographic display. He ran the scan again, then a third time. The result remained unchanged. The Hyperion was back, holding position just beyond Mars orbit. Within hours, the station buzzed with activity. Director Olivia Patel strode into the control room. Her traditional Indian formal were contrasting sharply with the ultra-modern surroundings. "Give me something concrete, people. Is it really the Hyperion?" "The quantum signature matches perfectly," Marcus confirmed, pulling up the original ship specifications. "But Director, you need to see this." He highlighted several anomalies in the current scans. "The hull composition is different. There are energy patterns we've never encountered before, and the ship appears to be approximately 30% larger than its original specifications." The station's military liaison, Colonel James Wilson, leaned forward, his weathered face creased with concern. "Could be a trap. The Centauri pirates have been getting bold lately." Director Patel shook her head. "Pirates don't have the technology to fake a quantum signature this precisely. Assemble a first contact team. Dr. Rodriguez, you're leading the scientific contingent." Marcus felt his heart race. He'd spent years studying the Hyperion disappearance, writing papers about possible theories. Now the ship had returned, transformed by forces unknown. The approach to the Hyperion was tense. Marcus sat in the research vessel Galileo alongside a team of 8 others. 3 security specialists, 2 engineers, a medical officer, and 2 fellow scientists. As they drew closer, the true extent of the Hyperion's transformation became apparent. The once sleek research vessel now bore strange, organic-looking protrusions that pulsed with a faint blue light. The hull seemed to ripple in places, as if the metal itself had become partially fluid. Most striking were the new structures that had grown from the ship's frame. Curved, asymmetrical towers that defied human engineering principles. Those structures, Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the team's xenotechnology specialist, whispered, "They're not built. They're grown." She adjusted her sensors, frowning at the readings. "The molecular structure suggests some kind of guided evolution. This is centuries beyond our current technology." The Galileo's pilot, Lieutenant Diana Reyes, maintained a steady approach. "Docking may be tricky. The original ports have been modified." As they drew closer, something extraordinary happened. A section of the Hyperion's hull simply shifted, creating a perfect docking port that matched the Galileo's specifications. "It's adapting to us," Marcus breathed, watching in amazement. "The ship is alive." The boarding team moved cautiously through the Hyperion's transformed corridors. The interior was a maze of organic-mechanical hybrid architecture, with walls that seemed to breathe and floors that adjusted their texture to provide optimal grip. The air was breathable, but had an odd, electric taste. They found the bridge largely intact, though modified like everything else. And there, in a stasis pod that looked more like a crystalline cocoon, they found her. Chief Engineer Jennifer Hayes, the only survivor of the Hyperion's original crew of 23. The pod's surface was covered in flowing symbols that changed and shifted as they watched. Dr. Tanaka attempted to scan them, but her equipment couldn't process the patterns. "It's like they exist in more dimensions than we can perceive." Marcus approached the pod carefully. Hayes appeared unchanged, preserved perfectly from the day the Hyperion vanished. But there was something else, a faint luminescence under her skin, patterns of light that moved like flowing data. "She's connected to the ship somehow," Marcus realized. "They've evolved together." Before they could begin the delicate process of attempting to revive Hayes, the ship's systems suddenly activated. Holographic displays materialized around them, showing star charts of regions no human had ever mapped. And there, at the edge of the projected space, something massive was moving, something that had noticed humanity's first faltering steps into the cosmos and had decided to respond. The Hyperion hadn't just returned. It had brought with it humanity's first warning of what awaited them among the stars. And as Marcus stared at the flowing alien data, he realized that everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the universe was about to change. The question was, Were they ready for what Chief Engineer Hayes would tell them when she awoke? And more importantly, were they ready for what had followed her home? The medical bay of Luna Base hummed with tension as Dr. Marcus Rodriguez watched the crystalline stasis pod slowly dissolve around Jennifer Hayes. The process had taken 6 hours, the alien material breaking down into a fine mist that smelled like ozone and morning rain. Director Patel stood beside him, while Dr. Tanaka monitored readings that seemed to defy known physics. As the last of the crystal structure disappeared, Hayes took her first breath in 15 years. Her eyes snapped open, still human, but with rings of silvery light pulsing around her irises. The medical team rushed forward, but she held up a hand, stopping them with an authority that seemed to radiate from her very presence. "The Nexus," Hayes spoke, her voice rough from disuse but growing stronger with each word. "They're coming." "How long was I gone?" 15 years, Marcus answered, stepping forward. "Chief Engineer Hayes, I'm Dr. Marcus Rodriguez. You're safe on Luna Base." Hayes laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Safe? No one's safe anymore. The Hyperion. Where is she?" "Secured in orbital dock," Director Patel assured her. "The ship appears to have undergone significant changes." "She evolved." "We both did." Hayes swung her legs off the bed, brushing aside offers of help. "The Hyperion isn't just a ship anymore. She's the only reason humanity has a fighting chance." The medical staff tried to insist on tests, but Hayes moved with purpose, as if guided by some internal compass. The silvery light in her eyes grew stronger as she walked, and Marcus noticed that the base's systems seemed to respond to her presence, doors opening before she reached them, lights adjusting to her movements. "The Nexus found us during our first FTL test," Hayes explained as they walked. "We thought we were so clever, breaking the light barrier. Instead, we attracted their attention. They're the gardeners of the galaxy, pruning species they deemed too dangerous to join the cosmic community." They reached the observation deck, and Hayes pressed her hand against the window, looking up at the transformed Hyperion in orbit. "They tried to eliminate us, but the Hyperion, she had other ideas. The ship merged with their technology, adapted it, evolved it into something new. Something they'd never seen before." Dr. Tanaka's instruments were going haywire around Hayes. "Your cellular structure, it's in flux. You're still human, but there's something else integrated into your biology." "The same thing that changed the Hyperion," Hayes nodded. "We became a bridge between human and Nexus technology. But more importantly, we proved them wrong. They thought humanity was predictable, that we'd use their tech to destroy ourselves. Instead, we transformed it into something entirely new." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the base. The Hyperion's modified hull was pulsing with intense light, and new structures were emerging from its surface. "Right on schedule," Hayes muttered. "The ships detected them. Long-range Nexus scouts, probably attracted by the energy signature of my awakening." Director Patel was already on her comm, ordering defensive preparations, but Hayes shook her head. "Conventional weapons won't help. What you need is already on the Hyperion. But to use it, you'll have to trust me. Trust us." Marcus studied Hayes carefully. The woman before them was simultaneously the chief engineer they'd recovered and something more, a hybrid of human ingenuity and alien advancement. "What exactly are you proposing?" "The Hyperion didn't just adapt their technology, she improved it. The Nexus builds perfect, unchanging systems. We showed them something they'd never considered: evolution, continuous adaptation. Now the ship wants to share that gift with Earth." As if in response to her words, the Hyperion released a pulse of energy that washed over Luna Base. Every screen, every device, every piece of technology flickered and changed. Lines of alien code mixed with human programming, creating hybrid systems that operated with impossible efficiency. "That's just the beginning," Hayes said, watching the transformation with those silvery eyes. "The Hyperion can upgrade Earth's defenses, give us a fighting chance. But it has to be our choice. Humanity has to prove the Nexus wrong, show them we can handle advancement without destroying ourselves." Colonel Wilson burst into the observation deck, his face pale. "Deep space arrays are picking up multiple signatures approaching the solar system. Configuration unknown, but they're big." Hayes turned to Director Patel, her expression grave. "The scouts called reinforcements. We have maybe 48 hours before the first Nexus warships arrive. By then, Earth needs to be ready. By then, we need to show them humanity isn't what they think we are." Marcus looked from Hayes to the transformed Hyperion, understanding dawning. This wasn't just about defending Earth. It was about proving humanity's worth to a galaxy that had already judged them. The ship hadn't just brought back advanced technology, it had brought back a chance to rewrite humanity's cosmic destiny. The question was, could they evolve fast enough to survive first contact with a species that had already decided they were too dangerous to exist? The next 48 hours would determine not just Earth's fate, but humanity's place among the stars. The next 36 hours transformed human civilization more than the previous century of technological advancement. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez watched in awe as the Hyperion's hybrid technology spread through Earth's defense systems like a benevolent virus, reshaping everything it touched. Military satellites sprouted organic crystalline arrays that could track ships moving in dimensions humans hadn't known existed. Defensive platforms evolved weapon systems that fired streams of concentrated probability, targeting enemies before they fully materialized in normal space. Even the ancient computers running power grids and communication networks flowered into living processors that thought in quantum algorithms. In the heart of Luna Base's newly evolved command center, Jennifer Hayes moved like a conductor orchestrating a cosmic symphony. Her enhanced biology interfaced seamlessly with the hybrid systems, directing the transformation with an artist's touch rather than an engineer's precision. Each piece of technology has its own evolutionary path, she explained to Marcus as they watched a standard defense laser transform into something that bent light itself into a weapon. The Hyperion showed me that machines can grow just like living things. They just need the right spark, the right direction. But not everyone embraced the change. Admiral Viktor Petrov, commander of Earth's Space Defense Force, stormed into the command center with armed guards. This has gone far enough. We're compromising our entire defense network on the word of one person who disappeared 15 years ago. For all we know, this is exactly what these Nexus aliens want. Director Patel stepped between Hayes and the guards. The UN Security Council has already voted, Admiral. The transformation continues. The council is civilian, Petrov spat. They don't understand military necessity. These changes, we don't even understand how half our own systems work anymore. That's the point, Hayes said quietly, her silver-ringed eyes fixed on a holographic display showing the approaching Nexus fleet. They're evolving beyond what we understand, becoming something new. Just like humanity needs to do. Before Petrov could respond, Dr. Tanaka burst into the room. The quantum sensors, they're picking up something massive. The Nexus ships, they're not just coming from one direction. They're emerging throughout the solar system. The holographic display shifted, showing dozens of ruptures in space-time. The Nexus vessels were unlike anything in human experience. Geometric shapes that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once, their surfaces covered in patterns that hurt the mind to look at directly. This isn't just a punitive expedition, Hayes whispered, her face pale. This is a harvesting fleet. They're not here to destroy Earth. They're here to rewrite it. To prune us back to an acceptable level of development. Marcus studied the tactical display, his mind racing. The Hyperion's transformation of our defense network. You knew this was coming. You've been preparing us for this specific threat. Hayes nodded. The Hyperion showed me their patterns, their methods. They've done this thousands of times to other species. But they've never encountered a species that could take their own technology and evolve it into something new. Suddenly, the Hyperion itself pulsed with brilliant energy. New structures emerged from its hull, but these weren't defensive systems. They looked like seeds. It's time, Hayes said, straightening. The Hyperion isn't just a ship anymore. She's become a template, a source of controlled technological evolution. And she's ready to share that gift with the rest of Earth's fleet. Throughout the solar system, humanity's ships began to change. Civilian vessels, military destroyers, even ancient satellites. The Hyperion's signal reached them all, offering them the chance to evolve. Those that accepted transformed, their hulls flowing into new configurations that combined human innovation with impossible physics. Admiral Petrov watched in stunned silence as his fleet transformed before his eyes. What have you done? Given humanity a fighting chance, Hayes answered. But more importantly, we've proved the Nexus wrong about us. They thought we'd use their technology to build bigger weapons, to destroy ourselves. Instead, we're using it to evolve, to become something entirely new. The first Nexus vessel emerged from its dimensional rupture near Mars, its presence distorting reality around it. Earth's newly evolved ships moved to intercept, no longer bound by conventional physics or traditional military doctrine. This wasn't going to be a battle of firepower or tactical superiority. It was going to be a clash between stagnant perfection and unlimited potential. Marcus looked at Hayes, seeing both the human she had been and the hybrid being she had become. Will it be enough? She smiled, and for a moment the silver light in her eyes flared like distant stars. That's the beauty of evolution, Doctor. There's no upper limit to what we can become. The Nexus is about to learn that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to adapt, to change, to become more than what we were. And they're going to learn it the hard way. Above them, the evolved fleet moved into formation, ready to defend not just Earth, but humanity's right to chart its own cosmic destiny. The next few hours would determine whether humanity would be pruned back to cosmic insignificance or emerge as something the galaxy had never seen before, a species that could take the very tools meant to limit them and use them to break through every barrier set in their path. The first shots of humanity's war for survival weren't fired with conventional weapons. As the Nexus fleet emerged from their dimensional rifts, Earth's evolved ships responded with something entirely new, controlled bursts of reality itself. From Luna Base's command center, Dr. Marcus Rodriguez watched the impossible unfold. The transformed human vessels moved like living things, their hybrid hulls rippling with energy patterns that defied physics. Leading them was the Hyperion, now almost unrecognizable from its original form, its surface a shifting maze of organic technology that adapted moment by moment. They're trying to establish a dimensional lock, Hayes announced, her fingers dancing through holographic displays. The Nexus wants to freeze our ships in normal space-time, prevent them from using the evolved drive systems. Admiral Petrov, who had reluctantly accepted the necessity of the transformation, leaned forward. Can they do that? They could, Hayes smiled, if our ships were still bound by conventional physics. Watch. As the massive Nexus vessels, geometric nightmares of impossible angles and shifting dimensions, attempted to pin down Earth's fleet, something extraordinary happened. The human ships didn't resist the dimensional lock. Instead, they absorbed it, adapted to it, and turned it into something new. Impossible, Dr. Tanaka breathed, staring at her readings. The fleet isn't just copying Nexus technology anymore. They're improvising with it, creating new applications the Nexus never conceived. The battle unfolded like a dance of creation and adaptation. When the Nexus deployed weapons that unraveled probability itself, Earth's ships developed shields that existed in multiple probability states simultaneously. When the aliens tried to trap human vessels in pocket dimensions, the evolved ships learned to treat dimensions like doorways, slipping between them at will. This isn't just a fight, Marcus realized, watching the tactical displays. This is evolution in real time. Each engagement, each exchange, is pushing our technology to develop further. Hayes nodded, her silver-ringed eyes reflecting the chaos of battle above. The Nexus built their empire on stasis, perfect, unchanging systems. They've never faced an enemy that could turn their own methods into something new with each passing moment. But the aliens weren't easily defeated. A massive Nexus vessel, shaped like a fractal cathedral of impossible geometry, emerged near Earth's moon. It broadcast a signal that began to unravel the very fabric of space-time around Luna Base. Alarms blared as reality itself began to warp. They're trying to reset local space, Hayes shouted over the chaos. Return everything to its pre-evolved state. The base's structure groaned as fundamental forces began to shift. Computer systems flickered between their evolved and original states. Even Hayes stumbled, her hybrid biology fighting against the reset attempt. The Hyperion. Marcus pointed to where the ship was racing toward the Nexus vessel, its form shifting faster than the eye could follow. What is it doing? Something new, Hayes whispered, watching her ship with a mixture of pride and awe. The Hyperion reached the massive alien vessel and did something unprecedented. It initiated contact. Not through weapons or shields, but through direct technological communion. The ship that had spent 15 years learning to evolve began sharing that knowledge with its enemy. The effect was immediate and stunning. The Nexus vessel's perfect geometric form began to shift and change, its rigid patterns flowing into new configurations. Other Earth ships joined the Hyperion, forming a network of evolutionary catalysts. They're not destroying it, Dr. Tanaka realized. They're teaching it to evolve. Throughout the solar system, the pattern repeated. Earth's evolved fleet didn't just fight the Nexus ships. They infected them with the very thing the aliens had feared, the capacity for change, for growth, for evolution beyond their perfect but static state. Some Nexus vessels fled, their crews unable to handle the transformation. Others began to change, their rigid structures flowing into new forms that combined their ancient power with the limitless potential of evolution. The battle became a transformation, a revolution spreading through the alien fleet like a virus of possibility. In the command center, Hayes watched with tears in her silver eyes. This is what the Hyperion learned during our lost years. The greatest weapon against stagnation isn't destruction, it's the offer of growth, of change, of becoming more than what you are. Marcus looked at the tactical display, where more Nexus ships were either retreating or transforming with each passing moment. We're not just defending Earth anymore, are we? We're changing the galaxy itself. That's humanity's gift to the universe, Hayes said softly. Not our technology or our weapons, but our refusal to accept limitations, our drive to evolve beyond what others think is possible. The Nexus came to prune us back, to keep us within acceptable bounds. Instead, we're teaching them that bounds are meant to be broken. Above them, the transformed Hyperion led Earth's fleet in a dance of endless possibility, showing the galaxy that humanity's greatest strength wasn't the power to destroy, but the power to transform, to adapt, to evolve. And with each passing moment, more of their enemies were becoming partners in that evolution, learning that the future belonged not to those who maintained perfect stability, but to those who dared to change. 3 months after the Battle of Sol, Earth had become something unprecedented in galactic history, a crucible of continuous evolution. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez stood in the newly grown observation dome of Europa Station, watching the transformed Jupiter shimmer with networks of living technology that stretched between its moons. The gas giant had become humanity's first large-scale experiment in planetary evolution, its storms now hosting vast organic mechanical ecosystems that generated power and processed resources in ways that defied traditional physics. More importantly, it served as a beacon to others across the galaxy who sought to break free from the chains of stagnation. Another delegation arriving, Jennifer Hayes announced, joining him at the window. The silver light in her eyes had spread to create subtle patterns across her skin, marking her as one of the first of what some were calling Homo evolutus. This group's from the Carina Arm, former Nexus Protectorate species who've heard about what we achieved. Below them, Europa's surface rippled as a new docking port grew to accommodate the approaching ship, a vessel that combined multiple alien architectural styles with evolved human technology. It wasn't the first such visitor, and it wouldn't be the last. How many does this make? Marcus asked, though he already knew the answer. He'd been keeping careful records of every species that came seeking what Earth now offered. 57 distinct civilizations so far, Hayes smiled. All former Nexus subjects or oversight targets. They're calling Earth the Crucible now, the place where species come to learn how to break their bounds. The Hyperion, now more of a living temple to transformation than a ship, orbited Jupiter like a guardian deity. It had become the template for a new kind of vessel, ships that grew and changed with their crews, each one unique, each one continuing to evolve. Some of the first transformed Nexus ships had joined it, forming a fleet that served not as a military force, but as a college of evolution. Director Patel, whose own subtle transformations manifested as crystalline growths that enhanced her cognitive abilities, emerged from a wall that parted like living curtains. The UN Evolution Council is ready for your report, Dr. Rodriguez. Marcus nodded, following her through corridors that adjusted their configuration to optimize their journey. His role had evolved as dramatically as the technology around them, from xenoarchaeologist to what some were calling an evolutionary diplomat. The council chamber had been grown rather than built, its living walls housing thousands of sensory organs and data processors. Representatives from Earth's nations sat alongside delegates from transformed Nexus ships and various alien species who had chosen to make the solar system their home. The pattern is clear, Marcus began, as holographic data bloomed around him. What we started here isn't just spreading, it's evolving itself. Each species that learns from us takes the basic principles of technological evolution and adapts them to their own unique biology and culture. They're not copying Earth, they're learning how to direct their own transformation. Hay stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. The Nexus believed that uncontrolled advancement led inevitably to destruction. They appointed themselves gardeners of the galaxy, pruning species they deemed too dangerous to achieve their full potential. But they forgot something crucial about evolution. It's not about reaching a perfect final form. It's about continuous adaptation, endless possibility. The chamber's walls shifted, displaying images from across the galaxy, worlds transforming under the guidance of their own people, species that had been trapped in stasis for millennia, finally breaking free to explore their potential. Some changed their physical forms, others merged with their technology, and still others found entirely new paths that defied classification. We've received word from the remaining Nexus Council, Director Patel announced. After observing the results of unrestricted evolution under human guidance, they're proposing a new compact. They want to learn from us, to understand how we maintain stability amid constant change. Marcus couldn't help but smile at the irony. The very civilization that had sought to restrict humanity now wanted to learn from them. But that was the nature of true evolution. Even the most rigid systems could learn to adapt when shown a better way. There are risks, he acknowledged to the council. Not every experiment succeeds. Not every evolution leads to improvement. But we've proven that the greater risk lies in stagnation, in accepting artificial limits on what we can become. Hayes touched the wall, interfacing with the chamber's systems. A new hologram appeared, a map of the galaxy with spreading points of light showing where the gift of evolution had taken root. This is just the beginning, she said softly. The real question isn't what we'll become, it's what we'll help others become. Humanity's role has evolved beyond just our own survival. We're now the guardians of infinite possibility. As if in response to her words, the Hyperion's signal pulsed through the solar system. Not a warning this time, but a promise. The ship that had started everything continued its own evolution, a living reminder that there was no final form, no ultimate achievement, only the endless journey of becoming. The galaxy was changing, transforming from a carefully tended garden into a wild, beautiful forest of possibility. And humanity, once judged too dangerous to join the galactic community, had become something far more important than merely powerful. They had become the teachers, the catalysts, the ones who showed others how to break free of their limits and evolve beyond their dreams. The age of the gardeners was over. The age of infinite evolution had begun.